Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss some of the important articles of the Hindu newspaper. In today's newspaper, there is not very important article, but I'll be discussing the two articles from day before yesterday and yesterday's editorial. It is about online abuse and data privacy and data protection bill. Now, before starting, I would suggest you to, after listening to this discussion, please read the article yourself so that it will help you memorize things. And I will share the PDF in my Telegram channel. You may join it. Link will be in the description. Also, if it adds to your understanding and value, please do like, share, and subscribe. It will motivate me and it will help me create more content. I will begin first of all with condemnation and very painful state of affair of what happened in Manipur and later in Malda. It shows that we have failed as a society. The consciousness, morality, humanity that defines a human being is somewhere missing. So many people, not a single person discouraged or stopped this brutality. It's very shameful and it is very discouraging and heartbreaking. I wish and pray strength to the survivors of this brutal affair, and I wish and hope that we improve and become a healthy society. Now, the article we are going to discuss about is also regarding the online abuse and how it impacts the present generation. We know we are invaded with lot of technology and various kinds of applications, and with this freedom, with this power of technology, there also comes some challenges, some roadblocks, and the online abuse, the sexual harassment, and the offensive content is part of this culture, and there has been no strong laws, legal implementation, and the protection or awareness among the people to stop these crimes. So this article also talks about how it impacts and what needs to be done. It's an important article because data protection, privacy, etc. is very much in news, and it has a lot of importance in the exams. So we are going to discuss some important aspects. What are the present status of law? What are the need of implementation, and how present bill which will be presented in the monsoon session, how it is going to impact. So here in this article we see that the author is talking about that there about a woman, a 19-year-old, who has said that the morphed nude photograph of hers surfaced on the internet, and this led her into depression and suicidal thoughts. Now this is very common, and this phenomena of using someone else's face and pasting on someone else's body and then circulating on the internet is a common phenomenon, and it is known as technologically facilitating sexual violence, TFSV. So this is a growing problem, and especially among the college students. The author says that it disproportionately affects the young women, and she has surveyed, and it tells that 60% of the women are more affected than only 8% of the men. So this culture of using the photograph on someone else's body, then blackmailing that they will circulate, and unless their wishes are fulfilled, they would blackmail you to get into sexual acts or money or some other form, and then if the girl is unwilling to do that, they would circulate. Okay, so this is very much common in the cyber crime. Now this thing, it has many forms. They are saying that morph nude images, sexually blackmailing, bullying, digital flashing, rape threats, explicit comments and messages. So these are the forms in which technologically facilitative sexual harassment takes place. Now the author says it pervades every social media. It pervades, it means that it is it is available, it encroaches in every social media platform, but it is more prominent in Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Okay, and then it is linked to one's name in an online profile, so the privacy part is also there, the private privacy part. Okay, and these kind of experiences may lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and other tangible consequences like loss of academics, career prospects. If the person, if someone is in a position, is in college, or is making a career in some profession, and such kind of incident take place, it is very very discouraging in the socially, in the social circles, and this discourages a person to progress in the field, and it also leads to stigmatization, and this leads to blockage of career prospects of especially a women. Sometimes the author says it leads to social isolation, violence, and even ostracization by own family. What do you mean by ostracization? It means निकाल देना, निकाला, ठीक है, कि एक पर्सन को बिल्कुल अलग कर दिया जाता है, दैट इज ऑस्ट्रेसाइजेशन. Now, the author says that there are all the provisions on IT Act 2000, but it is redundant, it's very old, okay. It does not take into account the complexities and the features of present day social media use. So, the author says 2000 Act, it does criminalizes the TFSV, but there are ambiguities in the laws which are not being taken care of, although it still coax some of the safety improvements. Coax, it means it still persuades, it still have some features, but still it is not enough. Okay, then the author says that India has the most Facebook users in the world, yet the Meta and have not optimized its platform in Indian context. Now she is quoting that although the social media platforms, they are mandatory, it is mandatory for them to be at par with the country's privacy concerns, the algorithm, and the as we say, we report some crimes. Okay, so it is mandatory for them to be fulfilling the criteria of cyber security. Okay, but big mega social media platforms like Meta, they are not compiling with the standards of India, because the standards are first of all not fixed, and the second of all, these standards are not at par with the European Union or US standards. Now the author is saying that the Meta algorithm is is manufactured in a way of American English, so the abuse and the content that is in Indian languages does not get reported, and if reported, it does not get acknowledged in these platforms. So there needs to be a mega scale modification in these kinds of platforms, so that there is real time reporting of such crimes and content, and also these platforms must be responsible. At the same time, they must be held accountable for these kind of breaches. Now the author is also telling about an institution of higher education. Now the author is saying that they are mandated by law to have a internal complaint committee. According to the Vishaka guidelines and according to Posh Act, prevention of sexual harassment, it is mandatory for every higher education institution to have an internal complaint committee where the victim can register a complaint, and it will conduct a inquiry, and it will hold the accused accountable, and later on may give punishments. It will report to higher authority. So first of all, there is lack of this internal complaint committee. The author is saying it struggles to form, train, and manage these committees. As we have also seen in the recent wrestlers protest, there was a report by the committee made by Supreme Court that most of the sports federation does not have this ICC. So this is mandated in every institution, in every higher education institution, to have this ICC. In every professional institution it is mandated. Okay, so first of all, these are not there, then it struggles to form, train, and manage these committees. then even if they find someone, they find the accused and they frame the charges, they are not punished by the higher authorities. So there is lack of teeth among these committees. Then there is low awareness among the students themselves that they need to report these kinds of crime. Okay, so we often see these crimes takes place, and the students tend to ignore, and they don't go to proper redressal mechanism, and these redressal mechanism themselves are not um, fully equipped to tackle these kinds of situations. Now, the author is also saying that what needs to be done. Now, this is important. These lines are important. This can be directly used in your answers. That provide anonymous helpline, first of all, and reporting options, mental health service, and trained counselors, grassroots solutions like doing workshops, safety training, which is very much mandated in POSH Act, and then also the designated student organization to take the lead response. So these can be included in what needs to be done. Okay, now what are the social impact? The author is saying that the social media and the present technology is invading in our lives in a major scale, and it is becoming part of life. Okay, it is a major part of life, so these challenges needs to be addressed, because 22% of the women feel safe online, as against 73% of the men. So rest of the women, 78% of the women who are on online platforms do not feel safe, and that is a very big number. And these roadblocks needs to be addressed, because the online platforms are going to be very much part of our lives. Author also says that these technologically facilitated sexual violence is a replication of patriarchal system that disempowers women. Okay, so these kinds of lines can be used in the essay part. Okay, and they said that much need of attention should be on the survivor, and irrespective of the other factors, they need to be treated with respect and with anonymity, and further ostracization and further stigmatization of the victim should not take place. Okay, and stigmatization and trivialization were significant part of the problem which needs to be addressed. Okay, as our world becomes increasingly digital, the issue of TFSV grows more urgent by day. Raising awareness and implementing solutions is still in our control. That is suggestion. This can be used in the conclusion. So this was all. In the nutshell, the author talks about the technologically facilitated sexual violence. The consequences of that can be very harmful for the career, for the person himself, emotional, mental state, and it will have social consequences as well. There are laws made in India, but that are not sufficient. On the other hand, the mandated provisions are not followed by big platforms like Meta, and that needs to be changed. Also, in higher education institutions, there needs to be internal complaint committee which needs to be given adequate power to punish the accused, the culprit, and at the same time, more level of awareness, more level of counseling needs to be done for students. Also, the stigmatization and the roadblocks in the technology that is there needs to be addressed, because it is going to be a permanent part of our lives. So that is it in this article. I hope you gained something. In the next part, I am going to discuss about the recent data protection bill, which will be tabled in the monsoon session, and it has very much connectivity with that bill. Okay, so the gaps which we talked about in this article is going to be addressed in through that bill, although that also have its own challenges. So please do watch that video as well about data protection bill, and it is very much important and relevant for exam. So thank you so much for your patience. Happy learning.